guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Lady Pay here, and in today's video I'm gonna be reading y'all some paranormal stories from Reddit. Okay, so and please y'all do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, okay, and share with a friend. I am trying to get to at least 100 subscribers by December. Okay, so really there's only like 20 more people. I would love to hit 100 subscribers before the new year. So if you would like to help a girl out, please don't forget to comment and to comment. Why do I keep saying commit? Please do not forget to comment and like. Thank you. So let's get into the story. And since I'm a little blind, y'all, I'm gonna have to put on my glasses because I really cannot see. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Okay. The first story is, my dad bought a dress for my daughter, but my daughter was born 5 years after my dad died. I'm not sure I believe in paranormal, but this experience is something that I think of often, and I would like to share it. My dad had me at 70, as unusual as that is. So when I was 20, he was 90. He was sick and in bed, and we knew he was going to die soon. So I used to visit him every day and stay with him all morning. At the time, his memory wasn't good. He messed up names and faces a lot. A week before he died, he told me that a while ago he had bought me a dress and asked for me to look inside his closet. His wife came to help me. My dad told us where to look, and we found a baby dress size 3 to 6 months. I told him he must have bought this one for his granddaughter or as a gift for someone else. He insisted that I have to take it. He kept saying that it's for her, take it. Which at the time I thought meant that it was for me, referring to me as her, as he maybe didn't know who he was talking to. That day I told him multiple times that this dress was not for me. He refused to listen. I took it home and never saw it again. I probably shoved it in some drawer and forgot about it. My dad died. I moved out, got married, years passed. Last April, my daughter was 3 years old. I opened the closet to pick her outfit out for the day, and the dress was awaiting there. Folded, ready, still with the label on it. Our cleaning lady said she found it somewhere in the room and put it there. I honestly don't know where she could have found it, as if the last time I saw it was literally 5 years ago. It's even stranger that the dress only showed up when she was already 3 months, which was the dress size. I was the one who packed everything when I moved out my mom's house, and I was the one who packed everything again when we renovated my husband's house. Never saw the dress apart from the day my dad gave it to me. And I know it might be foolish, but I think it was for her. As insane as it may sound, I think the dress was for my daughter. Now that story, I think it's so sweet and very interesting too, because her dad was dying and somehow he knew that his daughter was one day gonna have a daughter and love her dress. I think it's a real sweet story. Even when your parents gone, they still looking out for you. Okay. The next story is called My Paranormal Experience. So a few years ago, I had a bizarre experience that I believe was paranormal. But being inherently skeptical myself, I'm always looking for feedback from others who are versed in this sort of thing. Here it goes back. Back in 2020, my partner and I had moved into an RV to travel across the US and do some parky work, working at a national park and resort. We got jobs at a hotel in Kanab, Utah, called Perry Lounge. My partner was a front desk clerk and I was a maintenance man. The job was difficult because of the heat, but otherwise I found the work thrilling and I was learning a lot. One day in mid-August, I was spraying for weeds behind our biggest building, apparently named the two-story. The nickname was the two-story. When I noticed one of the second-story windows was open and the curtains was billowing out as if blown by a decently strong wind. This confused me for 2 reasons. One, it wasn't particularly windy that day, but I figured that since it was above the fence line, it was probably getting more wind than I was feeling. 2, there was no one that checked into this two-story. When COVID hit the US, there was a lot of confusion about how it was spread, how long it lived outside the human body, and for us, the best way to decontaminate public areas. We had sectioned off the second story because it had carpet, while the first story had hardwood and it was easier to clean. So I jumped on my radio and asked if the 2 other maintenance people had been up there. Both said they hadn't. So I switched over to the housekeeping channel with the same inquiry. Everyone said they haven't been up there for the 2 stories in weeks. However, some of the staff had clocked out by that time, and maybe one of them had opened the rooms to like air it out or clean the outside windows and had forgotten to close the window. So I headed up to close it and made sure no animals, we had a lot of bats in the area, had gotten in there since the screen was missing. When I got to the room 213, I unlocked the door and opened it. Immediately, a few things happened simultaneously that surprised me. First, I was immediately hit with a blast of cold air. Like when you open a freezer door at a gas station, but the air didn't smell like the air conditioning was on. The air smelled stale and dusty, but not bad. The second thing that surprised me was that despite the cold air, the air conditioner wasn't on, and this was mid-August in Utah. It was over 90 degrees outside. The hallway was stuffy hot, but this room wasn't. The third thing that surprised me was that as soon as I walked through the threshold of the door, my radio immediately went to static. This had never happened before. I had been in other rooms on the 2nd story. I had been in crawl spaces. I had been across the street at the gas station. Never before had my radio went to static. At this point, I thought someone was messing with me. I figured out one of the maintenance guys or the housekeeping went up there to play a joke on me or something. So I called out, "All right, you got me," which was met by silence. So I took a couple of more steps in and called out, "Very funny. You had me going for a second." Nothing. Slightly creeped out. I walked over to the window, pulled the curtains in, closed and locked the window. This is when I noticed that there was a thin layer of dust over the air conditioning unit. If someone had pushed the on/off button, I would be able to see a fingerprint, but the dust was undisturbed. Right when I made that realization, it felt as though someone was standing right behind me. To be clear, I haven't heard anything or felt anything physical, but it's that same feeling that you get when you feel someone's eyes on you. I looked around to find nothing but an empty room, fully weirded out by this point. I made for the door and left. As soon as I crossed back over the threshold and into the hallway, my radio went from static back to silence. Needless to say, I was creeped out being at work. I had to finish my test, so I finished spraying the back of the building for weeds and made my way into the workshop area to build another screen. I finished the screen and headed back up to 213, but I was too scared to go in. So I just left the screen leaning up against the wall beside the door for the time being. I figured that if no one had installed it by my shift tomorrow, I would do it then. The rest of the workday and afternoon was uneventful. However, that night I had the maintenance emergency phone. The maintenance staff had an emergency phone that gets a call if they locked themselves out or the toilets were overflowing, etc. We rotated who had it each night, and that night it was my turn. I hadn't gotten a call all night until around 3 a.m. The phone rings and I answer. The person on the other line, an older woman, says, "Hi, this is blank. I'm in room 113, and I was wondering if you could call the room above us and ask them to quiet down. It sounds like they're rearranging their furniture or wrestling or something. We have a long hike tomorrow and we need some rest." Immediately, my heart dropped. I mumbled something about giving them a call and hung up, but I was shocked. I couldn't sleep the rest of the night. I tried to Google anyone who had a similar experience or death that had happened in the area, and I couldn't find anything related to Perry Lounge. The next day, I went up there to see if anyone had replaced the screen, and of course, it was waiting for me. So I muffled up all the courage I could and went in. Nothing. A normal room. Not cold, not creepy, no weird feelings of being watched. I installed the screen without incident and left. To this day, I really have no idea or explanation for what happened. I think about it from time to time and it still creeps me out. Now that is very creepy. Very creepy. I would have avoided that room at all costs. Like, they would not be making me go back up there. I contemplate